International Trade Law at University of Kansas. He joins me now live from Lawrence, Kansas. Great to have you here with us on TRT World, Professor. So it's a huge setback for India, is it not?
It's a huge setback for India, and thank you for having me to help see us through this story. India initially, on Liberation Day, the chart that you were showing from April 2nd, had a tariff rate assigned to it by the president of 26%. After 5 rounds of negotiations between April 2nd and roughly the last couple of days, India was only able to drop that to 25%. Whereas many other countries, and we can speak about them, most notoriously from India's perspective, Pakistan, was able to negotiate a significant reduction from 29% to 19%. Turkey's is at 15%. So, as you rightly indicated, India refused to open its agricultural markets, its dairy markets, and it also refused to cease or diminish its purchases of Russian oil. About 2 out of every 5 barrels per day of oil, crude oil that India purchases, come from Russia. Now, from the American perspective, the Trump administration's perspective, whether we like reciprocity tariffs or not, the reality is India has had since the 1986 to 1994 Uruguay round to reform its agricultural sector. And it has had since shortly after the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022, all these years, 3.5 years, to wean itself off Russian oil, knowing that the Americans were interested in secondary sanctions. And India really has done almost nothing. So now we are at this stage of serious confrontation between the elephant, the 5th largest economy in the world, and the eagle, the largest economy in the world. And regrettably, the two have not been able to transcend their domestic peculiarities and unify on their one common threat, and that is China.
Now, Professor, great points there. You know, this is what I wonder right now. Isn't it possible that Donald Trump always wanted to slap India with 50% tariff, and now he's just using this Russian oil thing as a reason to justify what he's doing right now, because he always needed something to justify this tariff hike? Do you think that would be a plausible explanation?
It's an absolutely plausible explanation. It's very hard to know the intent of heads of state, heads of government, of countries. That's kind of a standard, problem in international law. We try and avoid ascribing intent. But circumstantially, I agree entirely with what you said, which is, I think all along, dating back to the 2015 presidential election, this leader, Mr. Trump, has been interested in onshoring and reshoring as much industrial production as possible. That includes semiconductors. As we know, just in the last few hours, the U.S. has announced 100% Section 232 tariffs on semiconductors. Well, that's bad news for India, because all of those semiconductor producers like Apple, which thought India was a China +1 strategy, they're going to get tariffed unless they build in the U.S. So to summarize the point that I think you've rightly suggested, this is about a lack of trust in foreign sources for almost all kinds of merchandise, a kind of xenophobia. And it's an attempt to onshore or reshore production, which, as we know in trade, is called autarky. So I would call that xenophobic autarky. That's what's going on.
Now, Professor, before I let you go, what do you think will be the short-term impact on India of these tariffs? And do you find it likely that Prime Minister Modi will be able to reconcile all the differences with Donald Trump when it comes to trade between the two countries?
The short-term impact is going to be tremendous pressure from Indian businesses and Indian chambers of commerce on the Modi administration to come to a deal between now and the next 3 weeks, when the 50% reciprocity tariffs will come on, 25% being the actual reciprocity tariff, and 25% being the other 25% being the oil tariff, secondary boycott on Russia. So Indian industry will pressure the Modi administration. At the same time, you can expect Indian agricultural interests and maybe small and medium-sized producers that would feel threatened by a drop in tariffs by India, as the U.S. wants to lobby on the other side. So I don't expect, and I'm a law professor, not a market professional predictor. I don't expect the India to change much its position. I do also think that India will be unable to make up the market it loses with its new free trade agreements, Australia, the UAE, the UK, possibly the EU. Those are much smaller export markets for India than is the US. The US is the largest by far.
Professor Raj Bhala, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. Fascinating insights. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.